Have you always dreamed of writing a book, but maybe feel you don't have what it takes? Not enough experience? Well, I have some good news for you. You don't need experience to write a book. I'm here to prove it to you. I'll show you for free, for real. Stay tuned. Spoiler alert, I'm not selling author coaching services or publishing services or any of that stuff. Who am I? Well, I have a lot of pen names. R.F. Price, Bella Ambrose, Ruby Monroe for a few. Yes, those are female pen names. There's stories around that, and I'll gladly share them, but just not here. Since 2019, I've written and published about 18 books in the fiction and nonfiction genres. My book links go from anywhere from about 35,000 words to 75,000 for some of my other novels. I've written in 6 different genres before landing in spaces that I'm actively publishing in today. I've released 5 bestsellers, 2 number 1 bestsellers, including 2 number 1 new releases, one of which in this year, 2023, titled The Five Sabotages to Women in Leadership and DEI. My bestsellers were all in tough fiction and nonfiction categories on Amazon, including the paranormal mystery, business, management, human resources, communication, leadership, and women in leadership. I've taken master classes from Dan Brown, James Patterson, David Balducci, authors that I really consider staples in the fictional genres themselves. I have a PhD in business. I have 30 years experience in corporate America. I've led billion-dollar companies globally at every level of the organization. I've received the Association for Talent Development's number 1 in the world best award. I've been in Training Top 100 for multiple years, and I've received the Training Magazine Editor's Choice Award. So hopefully I can pass along a lot of knowledge that I've acquired, but most importantly to you, I've been exactly right where you're at right now. Hungry to start writing a book, but didn't know how to get started. So here's the catch. No, there is no catch. Again, I'm not selling coaching services. No, I have literally personally wasted thousands of dollars of those so-called experts that you stumble across on Facebook. I'll help you write your book. Experts publishing, blah, blah, blah. You know the story. You see them. I'm not that person, and that's not what this is about. I've got something much better to offer you, and it's really free. I'm going to have a free workshop for the Bluebridge-Ai.com community, and it's how to write a book without experience using AI. And I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about writing a book from start to finish, even if you've never written a book before. And I'm going to do it all using AI to help you publish a book in 30 days. That's right. I'm going to start from a blank slate, and we're going to go in 30 days how to actually write and publish your book using AI. And you heard it right. I know that the Bluebridge-Ai, or the Bluebridge-Ai.com AI writer Nova will be using it, and we'll be using the Bluebridge-Ai.com AI chat team. And hopefully, by the time that it's released, we'll be using the Art Suite. I'll show you a little bit about those. But I wrote my first books the old-fashioned way. In fact, they've all been written the old-fashioned way. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to share with you something I'd like you to consider. I learned this from James Patterson, straight from James Patterson himself, and it really has changed the way that I approach writing, and especially writing as a business. So if you're here, you're approaching writing 3 different ways, I think. One, you're passionate, you're on fire as an author or writer, and you want to get a book to market or maybe get a publishing deal. And so it's about the topic. It's about something a story you really want to tell. Then I think there's probably another population that, hey, I want to write shorter books, ebooks, books that are probably call them 20 pages in length, but there's for lead magnets. Those are giveaways, attract a service, or I want to establish credibility in a topic. So I'm going to do shorter works, and I need to write a lot of volume quickly. And then I think there's kind of a third author, and it is, you know what, I do want to write a book, but I want to write it for profit, and I want to do it as a side income. So it's not necessarily that, hey, I got a story to tell, I want to get it out there no matter what. I learned this from my editor, Tanya. And early in my career, I began writing. I wanted to write what I wanted to write. I think we all do. And then Tanya and I had this talk, and I had an epiphany. And she said, hey, if you want to be profitable, if you want to sell books, you've got to write what the market wants and what the consumers are buying. I know it sounds really, really obvious, but again, I fell into that trap that a lot of authors do, and that is, hey, I've got this story and I want to tell it. What I didn't know is, okay, are they going to buy it? So Tanya, my editor, really changed my perspective. That's why I kind of stumbled through 6 genres early on because I wanted to kind of experiment a little bit as a writer to learn where one I could marry the two. I could find a niche that was profitable and write books that I enjoyed writing. So the lesson I learned again from James Patterson that changed the way that I approach writing as a business, and that's my approach. Yours is, again, maybe much different. But the secret that James Patterson doesn't talk about is he uses an army of staff writers. You know, you and I know them as ghostwriters. They do a lot of the work behind the scenes for him, and they'll write most of his books. And in fact, I couldn't figure out, how can James Patterson put out so many books? And again, I understand because I can write 3 to 5,000 words in a sitting pretty easily. And I think over time, it's a lot like weightlifting. You build up to that. But still, it just seemed impossible, the volume of books that James would publish, until I attended a master class with him. And then I found out, he uses staff writers to do a lot of the heavy lifting now, especially now in his career. And here's the downside. I don't know about you, but I didn't have the ability to hire an army of writers or to even ghost writers to outsource. I mean, you could spend a lot of money doing that stuff. And I still wanted control over a lot of the process. So what was great, though, is you'll notice that with James Patterson, he's co-authoring a lot of books, and he's really doing that now to reward a lot of those rising stars that spent time in their career doing all the background writing for him to help him publish. And so he kind of launches their career that way. So he told that story. I love it. But it changed my perspective. I looked at as a business, as a writer that wanted to be profitable, that wanted to sell books. How can you work in volume at scale? What is the process? Not just, there's the art and science of writing, but how could I scale what I wanted to do? Because I didn't want to just write one book. And if you do, that's great. But I knew the first book that I wrote and published, once it actually became a #1 bestseller, #1 new release in 2019, I was hooked. And so I wanted to learn more. Well, I didn't have these tools available with me. So right now, AI is a great tool that can be your secret weapon. And what I love about it is it's about the cost of a pizza. Which is just shameful in and of itself. Because when I think about the things that I've spent money on, you can do it with AI very simply. Again, I mentioned I'm going to use in the workshop 3 different tools, the Bluebridge-Ai.com Nova. What makes Nova different and unique is if you've seen ChatGPT, you notice you use a prompt, and there are really about 13 different prompts that you really have to understand how to use, and you really have to pull a lot out from ChatGPT. Well, the source of its machine learning is OpenAI. And Bluebridge-Ai.com is also powered by OpenAI. But you'll see it's a much different environment. It's user-friendly. It's kind of a newbie-friendly. I want to use AI for the first time. It's got a lot of tools, everything from writing to a bunch of professional tools for training and development, professional coaches, even creating presentations. But what we're going to use is there's a section for books and ebooks, and Bluebridge-Ai.com is the only AI on the planet that has something built specifically to meet author's needs. And what I love about this is everything from starting out to how can I generate book ideas, to a book title, to my endnotes about myself, writing scenes for fiction, even doing the outline. In fact, I'm going to share in the workshop some tips that I learned. Both Dan Brown and David Balducci shared in their workshop, and I have copies of their handwritten outlines for a couple of their bestsellers. And I'm going to share those in the workshop when I talk about the importance of the book outline and the lessons I learned from both of those veteran expert writers. But what I love about the Bluebridge template system for authors, not only is it simple to use, but things like the book blurb. There is a template, and when I say template, I'm going to show it to you. So unlike ChatGPT, where you're firing back and forth and you've got to twist it, Nova, you literally type in what your book's about, a couple of lines, and then you have the ability to set some creativity levels, generate the length of what you want to write, the tone of voice. But you're doing like a couple lines of entry, and then it's going to generate your book blurb. Now, why is that important? Well, I can tell you that there are 2 things that I have discovered and that were coached to me that are most important in actually selling your book. So your book's written, you've got this labor of love and it's finished, but the two most important things are your book cover, the artwork, and the book blurb. So the book cover is number one. Um, and I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on book covers. I have spent probably tens of thousands of dollars on book blurbs because there's an art and science to the book blurb, and it's the write-up when you and I go to a book on Amazon. So 90% of what's going to attract us is to a book on Amazon is the cover. Wow, it looks nice. Or either you associate and know the reader and you're a fan. But for a new author, it's the book cover. Wow, does that look cool? It looks like something I want to read. And then it takes you to the book page, and that's the book blurb. And that's what sells your book. So a book blurb, it's a writing art and science all in of its own. And even as an author, taking that on is kind of a daunting task. But what's important is, if you keep in mind that I will literally be 20 books published by the end of this year. If you think that each one of those has a book blurb and, it's experimental. So these book blurbs you're going to have written, and I outsource mine. And every time I would do it, it was anywhere from $150 to $350 or $400, depending on the book and who the source was that I outsourced. But, it's not a write and forget. The book blurb that is going to sell your book, literally, there's a lot of testing and it may not work. So you may find yourself on one book changing your book blurb 3 or 4 times in a given year. So now you can imagine I'm paying $150 to $350 a pop, 3 to 4 times a year, upwards to 18 to 20 books. Now with AI in my pocket, I can literally, anytime I want to, I can come in and tell it about a book, and I can have it rewrite. Nova will rewrite my book blurb in about 20 seconds, and I can do this over and over and over again. So I have learned to appreciate what AI will do for me, especially with the tools for writers. I talked about artwork. It's insane the amount of money that I spent on artwork. Well, with the trial of Bluebridge-Ai.com, you won't have access to the AI team or the AI art suite. You have to have a professional level subscription to get access to those. But I'm going to show you that, again, one of the things that I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on, my wife will remind me of this, is literally artwork, because it's either attracting customers or it's not. And artwork is everything, because it's what will attract readers to your book the very first time that you're actually they're coming across your work. So Bluebridge-Ai has included an AI art generator with really kind of a suite of 20 different AI applications, and this is their competition for Journey or DALL-E, which is the open AI art generator. And why is this important for an author? You're saying, why are you showing this to me? Well, because again, every time I generated artwork, it was anywhere upwards to $1,000. And I'm a fan of the Underworld series because I write in the paranormal mystery genre of fiction. You can see here in about 2 minutes, this is AI art generated that's completely unique in mine. And that is included with the professional subscription for Bluebridge-Ai, and it's unlimited. And that's just one of the tools in the art suite. And again, every time I either change a cover, because I'd have multiple times, you'll change a book cover again if it's not working, and it's $1,000 a pop. Now I can go in and create some artwork just by a couple of lines of text. So those are two very powerful tools. The AI chat team, again, if you've seen ChatGPT, you know what it's like to do a chat function. But what's different is the Bluebridge-Ai.com AI chat team isn't just one chat. It's 20 business chat experts in all these different functional fields that you get access to, and it's unlimited chat. So you're not metered or throttled when you are a professional level or enterprise level subscriber. You can chat as much as you want to with all these functional experts. And what's great is, like for Nathan Porter, the copywriter, that's who I use in the workshop, literally you can see the environment is much different. Again, it's a more user-friendly environment. And here's the big thing that's different between ChatGPT and Bluebridge-Ai, their chat team. Not only is the environment much more appealing and easier to use, and like their template system, each one of these experts are pre-programmed behind the scenes. So again, it takes away you as a user, especially a novice user, having to learn all the different nuances and chats to get ChatGPT to perform for what you need. It has programming. So each one of these professionals has very specific algorithms, but it gives you the ability to write in 200 languages, 25 different tones of voice. The writing styles are over 20 writing styles. And even if you're like me and you're a bad typist and you just want to do vocal input like Alexa, it has a voice activated input system, and then you can chat back and forth. And as you can see, I actually went out and asked Nathan to generate me, give me a lesson plan for a workshop on AI writing to write a book in 30 days. And I had Nathan actually generate that for me. So those are two tools that you don't get in the trial. You get those with the paid professional level subscription, but you do in the trial get access to all the templates, which are more than 150. And I showed you some of the author writing templates that are built specifically for authors in writing books that are very, very powerful, but also even the writing section. There's some tools that I find that I go back to use, whether it's paraphrasing content or answering a question, or changing voice, passive voice to active, active to passive, writing short stories, fictional stories, even developing lists, writing an effective comparison contrast, doing features and benefits, even a quote that I want to use. It generates not only the quote, but gives me the reference and source in the APA format. Even the elements of writing topic papers or research papers or essays, I can use elements of those as a writer. If I want to do something fun and have the AI write in someone's voice, I did some stuff in the voice of Jerry Seinfeld. I can do that, and I can incorporate that in my book. It writes and explain it, which breaks out the details of something. It generates analogies, pros and cons. So it does a lot, even in the writing templates that are outside of the book and the ebook templates that are just great tools. So we'll be using those. I'm going to take you at no cost. Again, if you're a subscriber to Bluebridge-Ai.com, you're going to go from start to finish. So you'll learn how to write a book, and then more importantly, you'll do it in a way that uses AI, which you have a built-in plagiarism checker with Nova. You have content that it generates that's 100% unique and yours that you can use. So you can have confidence in that. So join us on the journey. It's going to be free. So don't be intimidated that how do I write a book without any experience? I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you how to do it with using AI to do 90% of the heavy lifting, and you're just going to guide the AI to create your book in 30 days. So I look forward to seeing you again. Bluebridge-ai.com.